Hi. So we're setting our stage, getting prepared. Um, let's see if this would work. We're supposed to start by 8, but I want to make sure that everything is set. So we don't have any glitch when it's 8 o'clock. Today's promised to be a great one. We're going to learn something really amazing. I look forward to actually learning from this particular individual. He has been a mentor for so long and a friend, so I really can't wait. Once it's 8, we would start. Once it's 8 o'clock, we would start. It's not 8 yet. We have about 12 minutes more. Hi, Godwin. Thanks for joining. You're like the first person here today. I'm trying to see if I can get our guest. Godwin, if you have any questions, please kindly, I think you know why we're here, so you could kindly type in your questions, and as we go on in the good evening there, as we go on in this session, I'm going to also ask you a question. Let me type in the topic of the day and pin it. Tuning the atmosphere of the workspace. So we do this every month. We invite people over every month to teach us, to train us, and to share their thoughts on business with us. Okay, so I've add the topic pinned. Still waiting on so we don't have any glitch. I want it to be quite smooth today because most times when we start, it's usually difficult to add our guests. I don't know why Instagram is doing that, but let me quickly add in it around. It's good. So let me add in. Sir, I've invited you. So if you could, okay. Let's see. So a um once I can see him, we're going to start the session immediately. And I'm trying to accept your. I hope everyone can hear me though. I have to speak too loud. I'm trying to accept. Okay, the volume needs to be louder. Let's see. So can you check your invites and see if you can accept that also? I'm trying to accept yours. It keeps going back. So once it's 8, promise to start by His grace. Hopefully, everything would have been said by them. I think we're successful. I hope. Uh, okay. So can you send a request again? I accepted, and I'm not sure if you can see me. I've sent a request to you. Can you accept? Okay, we're almost ready. Let's see. So this promised to be a very amazing and interesting session. I hope you have a bit of patience with us as we take care of this glitch and start the session. The topic remains tuning the atmosphere of the workspace. I don't know why this keeps being a problem, but we'll work with it. I've sent my request, if you can accept, and I'm accepting yours also, but seems not to be connecting. Okay, I've been at this now for 10 minutes. like joke. We have just 5 minutes more. It's not giving you the option to accept. Interesting. But I'm accepting yours here also, and it's coming off. And I don't know. Right, accept. I keep accepting, but it keeps getting, the time frame keeps getting longer for every life. Okay. It's actually never been this long before. It's like 15 minutes. I don't know what to do anymore. Okay, I'm going to do something. Let me see if it's just you, sir. Let me try and I'm going to invite Mr. Godwin and see if he's able to join. It's not
I think I'm live.
okay, I can't see you, but that's fine.
Can you see me?
I can't, but I think don't go off.
I can't see you too. I can't see you.
Okay, but can others see? Can
I'm not sure.
you see?
I can't see you. I
I
can't
can.
see you.
It happens like that actually. Um, it happens like that where we can't see each other, but it's actually recording. So I would like to know if others can see us. You don't see us. Yet. Okay. So every other person can see this. Let's start. It's 8 p.m. on the day. Good evening, everybody. It's another section of Business Beyond Skills. I hope everybody can hear me. Another section of Business Beyond Skills. And you're all welcome. It's been a long night. This is an initiative of statutory staff campaign. It's an interactive chat with the vision to build excellent minds into business aspects of life. Each month we invite intelligent minds over to chat dealing in different topics that help individuals and business to life. You can tell me your topic you believe to be discussed and put it. So today our topic is Fueling the atmosphere of the workplace. Fueling the atmosphere of the workplace. What do we hope to get from today's session and how important it is? The class workspace should really be ideally to be a safe space. Even though sharp tools are everywhere and the hand movement seem violent, we are in control of our culture and instrumental to how our atmosphere is tuned, the drama or the dancer, which comes first. Without much ado, we are going to introduce our guest. I'm actually quite excited about today's session. And his name is Mr. David Adewale. He's actually a pastor, popularly known as PD. He's a man of many arts and insightful teacher of the word. Okay, there's a breakage, but can you hear me? If it's
I can hear you.
okay. So, without much ado, I'm inviting Mr. David Adewale, known as PD, the man of many arts, an insightful teacher of the word, a co-founder of Online Club Initiative, the overseer and lead pastor of Fragrance of Grace Church, a mentor to many, a man of great depth, a thought leader and a word speaker. I'm going to invite him over right now, but please do not forget to enter your questions. Whenever you have a question, just please type it and write the questions and I'm going to get them. Write down your notes. Thank you so much. Mr. David, you're welcome. So I'm going to just start with this question and you take over. What does the atmosphere of a workspace mean? How does it impact productivity? What do
I'm having a challenge here first. I don't know if anyone can hear me. Please, if you can hear me, please kindly signify. I
I
left I
hear?
left my hearing device, airport actually. I did not come to the office with it. So I'm a bit having difficulty picking your questions. Come again with that question, please.
I said, what does the atmosphere of the workspace mean? How does it impact productivity?
Okay, I think for the purpose of this session, um, we can simply replace the word atmosphere with culture. So basically, we're going to be looking at the culture that is engendering productivity, performance, and also um, inefficiencies, in our organization. So basically, the atmosphere that is prevailing in the workplace is actually the prevailing culture or powered by the prevailing culture, of that organization, which is actually the DNA of every company. Every company has DNA, and that DNA is in the culture of that DNA, which eventually creates the prevailing atmosphere for any workplace. And like they say, that at every given time, the culture of a place will eat up the strategy. So it doesn't matter how much you have planned, how much strategy you have, the prevailing culture will eat it up if it is not consistent with the strategy, if it's not consistent with the strategy of that company. So the culture will eat it. So if you choose and put side by side strategy and culture, culture will always win. So it's important that we understand the atmosphere of our workplace, and it's not a myth. It's something that can easily be tuned. It's something that can be corrected. It's something that can be improved upon. It's something that can also be upgraded. That is why I'm coming from the angle of culture, because understanding the culture, then you can actually understand the atmosphere of that company. You get into some places and it feels toxic, just just coming into an atmosphere, you just feel that no, there's something about this place. You may not be able to pick it, but somehow, I mean, physically, but your God can easily pick that. So we're looking at a prevailing culture that is creating prevailing atmosphere in every workplace. So simply put, the atmosphere of every company is actually the prevailing culture of that particular organization.
something about being toxic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you mentioned something about being toxic, the culture being toxic. How does that work? What makes a culture toxic?
Come again. Come again.
How, how does the prevailing culture become toxic? What makes it toxic?
Of course, I would say because we have to look at leadership from the word go. Like they say, everything rises and falls on leadership. So if you find an atmosphere where you have, an organization where you have toxic culture, we can largely trace it to the leaders, how the leaders had conducted, himself or herself, or the leaders in the event of a larger organization, how they've actually been able to conduct themselves in the examples they set, in the policies they make, in their reward system, how they reward. If there is nepotism, if an atmosphere is full of nepotism, if it's tribalistic, then you're going to have a toxic culture. Largely in the example they set and in how they relate to and with their staff. Some organization, as it were, are not human in nature. They're not humane in nature. They just are always after profit, profit, and profit. And if you're looking at a profit, profit only, and you're not considering the people who produce the result, who produce the result, then you're going to have a toxic environment. An organization where you allow caucus, people to have caucus, people start forming groups belonging to different caucus in an organization. If it is not stemmed, if it is not controlled, it will create toxic atmosphere. An organization where you allow disrespect, whether you are younger, you are subordinate or not, you are the boss or not, everybody must be respected in the organization, and it must be seen that everybody is respected. And in the event of disrespect, there should be some kind of punitive measure to be able to correct, such in the future. So when you have an organization where there's no respect, some bosses, especially in this part of the world, lords it over their staff, lords it in the atmosphere, and then for some reasons people just become fearful and start playing to high service, and many of them will also play to gallery. When you ask them certain questions, everybody start looking for a Machiavellian way of beating the other person to be in favor with the boss. When you allow all of these things and you are not transparent, if an organization is not transparent in their reward system, if they're not transparent in how they deal with their staff, if they are not honest, if the organization is not honest and also not flexible, an organization that's not flexible is going to eventually become toxic. Organization that does not respect the staff, have a culture of respect, will become toxic. So quite a number of things you can say that actually create toxic environment within the work culture, and it is something you have to be intentional about from the word go. If I have an organization and I find it, in that direction, because I'm intentional about it, I'm actually going to correct it ASAP. One of the ways to correct it is to, first of all, always catch yourself doing wrong as a leader, then make the right adjustment, then begin to correct. But the leaders must set examples of these things. So basically, the same way also in the house, you can't. There are some bosses. I've worked with bosses who will deploy the principle of divide and rule, and eventually make the organization, very toxic. Divide and rule. People just want to, because for the leaders, some people feel that before they can gain control, they would have to divide, their followers, so that they can rule them. Eventually they ruin the entire organization, while they ruin the psychic even of the people that, have been given to them. So that is that, for now.
Okay, so I want to ask what it means for the atmosphere of the workplace, the culture of the workplace. What does it really mean, and how does that impact the productivity of that workplace?
What is it? Come again.
The atmosphere of the workplace, the culture of the workplace. What does it mean, and how does it impact the productivity of the workplace? The impact of the productivity? How does it impact the productivity? I understand from what you said that the atmosphere is defined by the culture of that organization.
Yes, see, when you have an organization from the word go that does not have clear visions and clear values, you are going to eventually create not just toxic, confused organization. There will be a lot of confusion. People don't know their KPIs, don't know how to measure performance, how to measure their vision. A research was conducted some years ago as to what was the greatest secret of high performing people, and thousands of people were questioned. In the outcome of the research highlighted one key thing among the high performance, and that key thing is that they had clear goals and clear vision. They know exactly what is expected from them. They know exactly what they're supposed to do. Among other things that were highlighted, this actually top it. So you're going to have a toxic, you're not going to have, you're going to have a toxic environment, workplace environment, when the people don't truly know what to do and what is expected of them within certain timelines and ranges. The Bible even says where there is no vision, the people perish. So if you're not intentional about the vision, if you're not intentional about the mission, the objectives, if you're not intentional about job descriptions, you're going to have people running their task and not knowing exactly what to do. Eventually, you're going to have a toxic, environment eventually. Number two, if there is no system for open communication, where people are encouraged, to speak, to give feedbacks. I mean, feedbacks constructively. Um, excuse me. Give constructive feedbacks. It's going to eventually turn to a um, very bad atmosphere for the people, because people can't truly have, and in some places where people give feedback because they're giving feedback without being anonymous, they get attacked, and many of them actually feel attacked. So you must encourage transparency, honesty, open communication at all levels. You must create channels of feedback and ensure that employees actually feel heard and also feel valued. When an employee doesn't feel valued, it doesn't matter how big that organization is. When a person doesn't feel valued, you're going to have a very toxic person, because it takes toxic people to create toxic atmosphere. Actually, it takes a toxic system, it takes a toxic culture, it takes toxic people to create these things. So you must have, and you must also, from the word go, learn to reward. Now, in saying this, something came to my mind, and I just felt this doesn't sound like a big deal to some people, but it's actually about people. Without people, you can't have a culture. And without certain ideologies, you can't have people creating, patterns that eventually become culture. So when you give people the right ideology, it will eventually turn out to become the right culture, within their space where they function. So something happened about people feeling valued. In our house, we have an home assistant that works, assist my wife with a couple of things, in the house. And then my wife was going to attend our own surprise, party. She was not aware. The buffet. The amount for the buffet will be close to, to our salary. If not our salary, will be very close to our salary. And it didn't cost anything. Now, being in the party, she had pictures with everybody. She had pictures with the celebrities who came, with the celebrant, with everybody. She felt, at home. And what you have done to that individual is to put something, of value in the person's mind. Now, I can tell you that not everybody, not because one is boastful, not everybody will consider home assistant that value to pay that much for a buffet and Sheraton. There could have been other ways to keep her out of the system. So now, if you do that to an assistant, what do you think the assistant will, I mean, of course, all things being equal, what kind of feedback are you going to get from that individual? Of course, she's going to feel at home. Now, remember, this person takes care of your kids, helps in quite a number of things at home. So the person, once the person has a sense of value, the person is going to give his best or give her best into the organization and into the home. So you must be able to do that, make people comfortable, make people feel valued. Some people think that you make them. Sometimes we determine people's value by giving them things and doing certain things, but no, beyond that, people haven't given them things, opportunity, reward. They must also feel value. So the way and manner we give these things out, the way and manner we release the gifts, give the opportunity, and talk to the people will determine how eventually they feel valued. So you must also recognize people who are doing fine, and in an organization where you don't recognize people that are doing fine, you don't have a way to reward them, whether by giving them award, open recognition. This can be formal, it can be informal, it can be giving them bonus. As simple as an acknowledgement is, it's a good feedback. And when you have that going on and on in the organization, people are going to trust the process. People can be stuck to it and be like, okay, someday if we do fine, if we perform, we're also going to get this kind of reward. And also, in order to continue to have a non-toxic atmosphere, you have to, you have to preach the gospel of personal development. You must allow people and encourage them to personally develop, because the more they develop, the better the organization. So if they don't develop, if you don't provide opportunity for continual learning in their career, in their growth, by offering trainings and programs and mentorship and clear pathways to advancement, I mean, you're not going to have people give their best in that organization eventually. And that's going to be a lot of problem. Now, you must also create within an atmosphere of work, collaborative, atmosphere where people can collaborate. By that, they get to know each other better, they get to work better as team, and eventually it will enhance the atmosphere of that organization. So, and quite a number of things can help. You must also allow people to be a bit somewhat autonomous in an organization. You must allow them to be somewhat autonomous. Give them liberty to do. Don't micromanage things. You can't always get the best that you want all the time, especially when you delegate certain things. But allow them to make their mistakes. Of course, that is not devastating on the bottom line, but allow them to make their mistakes while you also correct them. You must also correct them. We're having a strategy meeting at some point, and an issue came up about an individual who felt very attacked because of purported non-performance and then excuses all the time. So while we're deliberating on how to leave that in the board, and all of that, eventually, one member of the team just raised a point of empathy that sometimes, the best thing to do with such individual, when you already know, especially within a volunteering kind of system where people volunteer to serve, not because they are paid. Even if they are paid, you must also understand the part of empathy. As a leader, when you do not empathize with the people, um, you're not going to get the best out of them, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care about them. So they have to show them that you care about them, and that you can do through empathy. I'm not saying sympathy, trying to put yourself in their shoes, of course, why it doesn't affect the bottom line in a very straight way, but you must show empathy to the people. I think that will be enough for now. So
Thank you so much for you've said a lot. I really understand when you say you are, because the truth is people don't care how much you know. How
what do
much
you
you
say? I
care.
can't hear you well.
Ah, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I said I agree with most of all the things you said so far, especially when you said the leaders must have empathy, and people don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. And
Yes.
the next question I have is quite on the line of what you said earlier, which is we should encourage personal development with our employees. Now, I've heard and I know that a lot of times when leaders, when employers of labor encourage employees to develop personally, take them to trainings and stuff, they end up leaving. In such situation, how do you help them?
Okay. The interesting part of this question is that just some 30 minutes or less than 1 hour before this session, so I was talking with one of my, friend, and then over training an individual, sending this individual for this training, and the person said, you have to get this person to sign that I haven't sent this person to this, number of trainings. The person would have to serve, for a period of time with you and all of that. You cannot fully control people, and you must understand that. Of course, you can put up systems that, make it very possible for you to gain from those that you have trained. You can put up systems that, make it possible for them to gain. And let me say this, some people don't work in an organization just because of the money. Some people believe in the vision. So your selection process must be such a way that you invest so much in the people who are critical to the vision, not for those who just come in for the profit. There are people around you that are very critical to the vision. Those are the ones that you'll invest more of your time, like the Pareto's principle, the law of critical few and trivial many. You must identify these people who are loyal not just for what they gain, but loyal for the vision that they want to see fully expressed. So you must understand that. Number two, also understand that you can't keep people, stuck to yourself forever. Otherwise, you're going to end up becoming a Charlotte. You're going to end up becoming a very wicked boss eventually. Because some of us also were trained in places, and look at where we are today, also having people. So some people are going to leave you. You can't do anything about that. But what you must do in your organization is to always give people the vision. They must always see the big picture. Some people have gone for trainings, returning from that training, they've not had, even though they are producing more in that organization, they don't have commensurate, remuneration to their new level of understanding and training. So you have to look at it from both sides. Sometimes the company sends you for a training, brings you back, haven't upgraded you nonetheless, and now you're coming back and you are investing what you have learned. You are deploying the principles and the things and the skills that you have gathered, and the company is doing fine. And you won't see this company make adjustment in their promotion, in their remuneration, feeling entitled, even though they've sent them for training. Now, when you send people for training, you are sending them first, not because you love them, but because you love your organization. Otherwise, you can pick people on the street and send them for training without coming to feed you back. So it's first of all love for self, love for the company. It's not for them. So, and everybody's trying to sort themselves. So you cannot keep people to yourself forever. But in retaining your best hand, you must always show them the bigger picture. And you must not only show it, it must be seen from their little experiences that when we become bigger than this organization. Most people work with Microsoft, I say with Microsoft except retired, was because they didn't just work for the money, they also worked for the vision, and many of them became millionaires. I mean billionaires eventually. How did it happen? Was because as the company grows, they were taking more share of the cake. They were growing with the company, and they want to stay back. I've seen bosses and I've seen some organizations hire people when we are just starting, we are startup please, and you have, let's say for instance, the masters, and then they hire you and they say just manage what we have. All we have is 100,000 for a position that should be given like 500,000. But of course, I believe in this vision and all of that. And the moment that the company becomes big enough to pay that money, you see them hiring new people, saying, "Oh, I want new." Why can't you train the one you have? Why can't you promote the one that you have? Some of them, when they become big, they now start saying no. When they become big to pay about $1 million, you now start hearing no, we have to pay the industry standard. The industry standard is 500,000. Where was the industry standard when you were paying 100,000 for a job of 500,000? So you'll find this inequity, everywhere here and it's not just on the employee side, also on the employer side. But this is, I want you to know, invest in your critical field, invest in the people that you're proven. You have to learn to test people, before you trust them. Invest in those ones. Commit, secrets, trade secrets. So people that you have trusted, not just because the person is skillful. You have to understand that honesty, integrity, they are life skills that are very important, to an organization. Then number two, just build a system that will make them at least work with you to be able to deploy the skills they've acquired in the meeting with you. But do not build it in a way that will make you become a wicked person, keeping people not wanting to let them go when they should go. So build a system of love. I mean, you're going to serve a master, you should have a timeline to serve the master and put in your best. So don't build a system just because I've invested in you people, I have to now, start for you. I have to make sure that no, don't do that. When people see love, when they can perceive love, they will follow you. Even when they leave you, they will always know that, man, there's a difference between this organization and that organization. So there's a love culture that is missing because of profit in our organization today. The love culture is absent. And anything that is not built on the principle of love, loving your neighbor as yourself. Because the truth is, if somebody sends you also on a training and you're better off, you will consider it. But I've talked with people, I have people that I know very well who have been trained by an organization, and yet another organization brings a bigger offer and they didn't go. Why? And I asked him, why didn't you take that offer? He said, I like to be part of something that is growing and is expanding, and so much have been invested in me, and then I'm staying to make this work. But beyond that, the company where he's also promoted, giving him prospect. Someone who started as a storekeeper became the digital, manager and all of that. How can you move from a storekeeper to that particular level? I mean, it shows that the company is progressive and has plan and future. But you kept somebody in one place forever, no training, no advancement, no remuneration, everything, and you are making profit. If you are not making profit, it's a different ballgame. If you are not expanding, it's a different ballgame. But if you are expanding, I find it very, very mean because of bottom line. People have actually destroyed and ruined so many lives because of bottom line. We should first of all be human, to people. And then life gives you back. Someone said you can't serve humanity for free and not be paid. Life will give you back what you truly deserve. That is how it works. And that's how I believe it works. And that's what I will do. In our organization, I prioritize and I make them know that I prioritize the human resources above all other resources. I prioritize that. I would rather pay salary than to embark on a project that would impede on the timeline that we pay salary. I mean, that has been done consistently for years, and I hope to always replicate that in any of our organizations or companies that we build in the future. And I try to also communicate to the people that not because it's so much convenient, but this is a priority. Human is the priority. You must love them, and you must also give it to them. All right, thank you very much.
How do you identify the people that are loyal and critical to the vision?
Yeah, one thing, if you don't have a life skill that will help you discern loyal people as a leader, then you have no business being a leader. It is a life skill you must gather. Of course, there are some kind of acid tests and metrics by which you can measure, but it begins with a life skill. You must have discerning capabilities. You must be able to over time train your gut to peak. For instance, at some point in our organization, we have to put people in certain positions. Now we have to put them in positions so that we can be more effective, be able to do more what we seek to do. But some years ago, when I wanted to make that decision, I knew that some people will leave the organization haven't been put in that position. And I will tell them, and I didn't do that until they are out of the system. The moment they're out of the system, then I say, okay, we're not going to get this thing done. So it is part of your leadership skill to be able to know people that are loyal. And let me say this, time is a therapy, that will help you see things that are hidden. You must learn to apply time. You must observe the unspoken, things. When you're in a meeting, I was in a conversation with some people and I began to speak about, how some guys are doing fantastically well in some areas of their lives, in some areas of their, organization. And I was so proud of what I was saying. It wasn't my result. It was somebody's end result. And I was observing the countenance of everybody that was there, who happened to fall just a little above the age bracket of the person I speak of. And I observed the countenance, and I spot the things that were not spoken. And I, called someone beside me, and I told the person thereafter, and I said, look at the countenance of this person when I shared, the promotion of this individual. It's not the same as this person. I said, always take note of that. The Godfather eventually knew the person that would kill him, because when they play back in retrospect with hindsight, the guy discovered they now began to spot the unspoken things that were seen by the person who eventually betrayed. So that's how life is. As a leader, you must, every time you are with people, you're open, you're picking signals, things that are said, things that are not said, and all of that. So you should know those who are loyal. I know to a very large extent, of course, we are not God, but to a very large extent, the people who are committed, to whatever we are doing, and those who are partially committed, some of them who are partially committed because their persuasion has not grown that much. Some people's persuasion will grow with result, while some people's persuasion will grow because they can see visions, they can see the future. So in whatever case, you will notice these people and you will commit into their hands greater things. He that is faithful in little will be faithful in much. It's automatic. If the person is not faithful in little, if the person backstabs, if the person seeks to disparage you as a leader, if the person seeks to be known rather than trying to showcase the vision and also the leader, then just know that this is not going to be better. Likely not going to be better. People who have that kind of defect, hardly make adjustment because there are hidden defects that are not seen publicly. There are defects that will easily manifest in the man's character, but there are certain defects that are so hidden that it grows with people and they don't eventually pick it up until something, bad happened and they now know, oh, it was because of this, it was because of that. So that is that. You will know people are loyal, people are not loyal. Not 100%, but at least you should be able to do that by 70%, and that's a good, scorecard.
Thank you. I have another question.
Please speak louder again.
I said, are there certain factors to watch out for when being intentional about our atmosphere or our
Okay. Are you talking about personal atmosphere?
no, our workplace atmosphere? There's certain factors to watch out for. Let me give an instance. In a situation where everything is said, the leader is right, the leader is doing the best that he can, and the employees are also aligned to the vision. But you now employ a new person, or maybe a client came in, or something that disrupted the system. How do you quickly spot it? How do you watch out? What are the things that you are supposed to watch out for so that you don't disrupt the atmosphere you have built?
All right. See, if you have an atmosphere that is challenging, that a culture rather, that is challenging, as a leader, you will know. One of the things that helps you actually as a leader to begin to alter, change, align the atmosphere or the culture of your organization to the vision or your intent is you exposing yourself to training, exposing yourself to mentorship, to coaching, and also learning from other, working, workplace culture. Now, in doing that, and you start bringing in new people into the system. Every time you have a new person in the system, or you're about to bring new person in the system, it is always an opportunity for you to make the adjustment. Always. Now, the people that you have with you should always know that you have an intention to upgrade the culture. You have an intention, to tweak the atmosphere to fit into your goals by new policies, by new performance yardsticks, by the things that you are introducing, and you living by those things, showing example, good examples. Now, every time you have to bring in new people to that organization, before the people come in, you should inform your people about the changes so that when the new person comes in, then you can begin to wield the stick against anybody who goes against the rules and the policy of that organization. Now, it will not be traced to that individual as the one who is influencing you to do that, because before then you prepare them for the new policies, for the changes that are coming and all of that. And you as a person must also learn to enforce. We are witnesses as leaders. Sometimes we don't because we are familiar with the people around us. We do not learn how to enforce, authority, enforce the rules. Now, when you have new people coming in, it is always an opportunity to revamp. It's always an opportunity to repair, to correct, so that that individual will not meet a corrupt system and eventually be corrupted. Please, always be willing to let go of any individual, even though you are very close to that individual, that is corrupting the system of your organization. Always be willing. You are not the savior of the world. Let people go. There are 1,000,001 talent out there that will do more. Always let people go. If you are attached to an individual who is toxic, forget it. You're already in bondage. You are just in a problem. You must learn to let people go. They will always find their path. You are not a savior of the world. So I just say that because some leaders hold on to some bad eggs. Confirmed bad eggs. They hold on to them while they are trying to get a new. You're going to destroy a system. There's nothing. There's no rocket science. It's going to happen eventually, because the people who will not listen to you will not listen to you, and that's the honest truth. And they will corrupt any new person coming in. So let people go when they have to. And you have to let them go. Sometimes you do that before you bring in a new person. Even house help can corrupt another house help if you don't let the house help go first before a new one comes in and start giving data that should not be given. So that is that. So if you have to bring in new person, it's an opportunity to now begin to enforce those things you've always wanted to do and set examples, for the new person. If the old ones don't catch up with you, let them go.
Can
Did you
you?
hear me?
Yes, I
I know
heard
you
you
read
now.
Bible. I know you read Bible. Now,
Yes.
whether for scholastic purposes or spiritual purposes, God had to let Lucifer go.
Yeah.
The peace enjoyed in heaven is because God let Lucifer go. Let go.
So we should fire faster than we iron.
It is what other.
I said so we should fire faster than we iron.
No, you should let see if you cannot. That why do you have the lead button? If you don't learn how to fire, you will not learn how to hire correctly. You must learn to fire. Every time you hire a bad person or somebody who is not performing, the fault is not with that individual. The fault is always with you, selection process. The fault also is with you. How everyone around us that we have hired is a reflection of us. It's a reflection of something deep inside us that the individual outside is giving expression to. So learn to take the blame. Learn to take the big blame. It will help you a lot to grow. Firing somebody you are paying so much for that hire badly is a pointer to something wrong in the hiring process. It's as simple as that. When you take that, it doesn't matter how the person turned out to be. Whether the person is bad from the word go, you hire the person, isn't it? Responsibility is the mother of greatness. It will help you next time when you want to hire. You now look at where you made the mistakes to hire this individual. Maybe you were in a hurry because you needed somebody to fill in a position, or you just wanted to innovate things that you're not even ready for, and you hire somebody to come and help you out, and you don't even have any milestones achieved so far, nothing to measure the performance of the individual. So the person comes into the organization and doesn't know his bearing, the person becomes bad eventually, and you say the person is bad. My goodness, everything rises and falls on leadership.
Hmm.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
But you know what? We are quick to blame. And for every time you have somebody to blame, there's something about you also to blame. I'm not saying people are not bad. I'm not saying people are not ugly. I'm saying people are ugly, but you hire the ugly person. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. So when you point one at that individual that is for coming to you, when you think like this, it will help you your subsequent hiring or selection. it will help you a lot. There are mistakes I will have made to appoint somebody. There are several mistakes I've even made. Appointing people into positions they don't really have the passion for, they don't even have anything for. And then I take the blame. I hire this person. So that is that.
You said something earlier on building on the principle of love.
On
Can
what?
you on building on the principle of love?
Of law.
Of,
Oh,
of love, building on the principle of love. Can you speak more on that? On building on the principle of love.
it's very simple. When you hire people to work for you in an organization, what do you think of them? Do you just want to use them to achieve your goal and discard them? Or or you have a plan for them? That plan doesn't have to be elaborate. It's a thought of goodwill towards this individual. And when you have that kind of thought of goodwill towards your staff or the people you're working with, it will inform the kind of strategies that will come to you. It will inform the kinds of plans you will have for them. It will inform how you help them to perform better. It's very simple. Just love people and not always think about you, yourself, and yourself. When I see company declaring, you know, profits from billions and all of that, what comes to my mind first is that what happened to the people in that organization? How are they faring? Check the attrition. Is it more? How are the people faring? Can somebody say, okay, my company has made these billions of naira, billions of dollars? Does it affect them in a way? Whether to give them a sense of belonging, of achievement, or recognizing them that they were part of the process and you fully recognize that from your heart, or you have something as a reward system for them. You see, if people will suffer with you, they must also enjoy the glory with you. That's the principle of Jesus. Those who suffered with him enjoy the glory. While they were trying to find somebody to fit in into Judas' space, the criteria was very clear. The requirement was very clear. He said, search from among you anyone who had been with us from the beginning. They did not install Paul, who came in newly. They didn't install somebody who is bringing in money or more skill. The requirement was that find anyone who had been with us from the beginning, who went through in and out with us with Jesus, who saw the cross, who saw the suffering, who went through the Galilee with us, who can tell the story. He said, find that person is fitting for this position. Now, it's on the principle of love. When people suffer with you, they should also enjoy with you, because it's always a pyramid structure. Now, when something comes on the leader, because the people at the bottom rung, of the ladder cannot have access, to the top. What nature or life or God does is to channel your blessing, the blessing for the people at the lowest, rung of the ladder. Channel that thing towards you, because whether you are the CEO or you are the pastor, everybody is building to make sure that you are all there. And you must know that you're going to be exposed to so many things. You must factor them. I was talking with a young man today, and they were looking at his brother who had been in Spain for years and relocated to, UK. And I just said something. I said, your brother is a wicked person. Of course, I will hardly not say that I've met him once, and then we've had discussions, and at some point I blocked him. I was supposed to do something for him, and I found out he came in Shiloh, so I just blocked him, and then he called. I just didn't want to deal with it. And you must learn when not to counsel people. There are people that are not going to take your advice. Stop killing yourself. So I just stopped talking. So today we're talking about this brother. And then he said, okay, what happened was that my aunt came and invested in this guy to travel abroad and make sure he's well settled. So this guy eventually married and then moved to UK. He said, my cousin also came, the daughter of that aunt, took another person from his own because they've lost their father and their mother quite early. Took somebody also and took the person abroad. So it was like, okay, the idea was that these two who have gone abroad should be able to help the younger ones there. And on several occasions, on 2 occasions, the elder brother, people who were very close to him, I mean wife, divorced and married another one, or rather started dating another one. 2 of these individuals said each time they raised the idea of using their money to fund the younger brothers, well-being, the travel and all of that. This guy turned it down. He said, I felt that lady was trying to gain their favor and all of that. Until it happened again with another person. I said, okay, you don't have to witness. I told you this guy is a wicked person. I said, when we were very young, at least their father died when they were about 13. So when we were very young, my father used to tell us that there is something about this, your elder brother, that is selfish. I do not think this guy is part of us. He never thought of his family. No love. Are you listening to what I'm trying to say? Now, that individual becomes a CEO, becomes a leader, becomes a political figure. You can't expect otherwise. You cannot expect otherwise. We deceive ourselves to think when people get into bigger position, maybe they're going to have more resources to bless people. It's going to be relative. Their wickedness is going to be relative. The hardness of the heart is just going to be relative. That's how I see people. That's how we have people who are in leadership positions. Go and check them. Go and check them from the beginning. They've been wicked. It is from the beginning. Whatever is in them is what life and nature and money and position had amplified. Wicked people in high places. Same with CEOs. I talked about a particular CEO I know in Lagos, multi-billionaire, and I looked around him and I said, if I cannot find somebody either close to be a billionaire or be a multi-millionaire around this person for this number of years that they work with him, I said, there's something wrong about his leadership. So it's not about me, myself, and I. There are people who will never start a business. There are people who will never have ideas to do a lot of big things. And now there are people that God had given to us to serve in that big vision. What do you think about them? Do you think about their welfare? Do you think about their children? Do you think about their take? I've seen people that we couldn't pay in our organization, and they get better offers somewhere else. You've invested in this individual, no doubt, but you can't even afford to pay this person what should be able to take care of this person moderately, and the person has another opportunity. I just say, hey, I said, God bless you. The person, I'm going to go for 3 months. I said, you are lying. Just go for 1 year. Now this person still comes around, you use our facilities, still, relationship is still going on, because you just have to think that the things that come to you is not always because of you, it's because of people. God never blessed anyone just for himself. It is not in the principle of God to do that. So when these individuals now start business, there are problems. They will become problems to their staff, to everybody, even in their family and all of that. Why they live very lavish life and squander things upon themselves. So that is that. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Let me say this let me just say it, because I think our time is fast spent. Now, you can find yourself as an individual, you can find yourself in an organization that is toxic. You just find yourself there. The leader may not be in the immediate planning to revamp a toxic atmosphere, a toxic work culture. You can even find yourself where even the leader is finding it difficult to communicate the vision in clear terms. You can be in a place where the leader is even finding it difficult to lead by examples. There is no open communications. There's no feedback system that allows you to say what's your mind. There's no reward and recognition, process. There's no simple acknowledgement. You can have that, and yet you'll find yourself in a place where nobody's thinking about, personal development, training you for progress. You'll be in a place where there is no collaboration. It's not a collaborative environment where people can, also grow and socialize. You can find yourself in that kind of atmosphere. What you do with that is to carry your own atmosphere into that kind of organization. Every one of us has its own energy that you generate from the inside. And this has a lot to do with your mindset. First, with your mindset to work. Tomorrow in our church, we're going to be looking at something around the work culture. Not work culture, actually, our work. And I discovered that fundamentally we have very warped perspective to work itself. And I do not say job. Every job gives you opportunity to work. Job pays you, but in that job you are going to work. Now, when you have the right mindset towards work, you will thrive even in an organization that is toxic. At least you're going to influence your immediate circumference. And everybody is going to say that. Of course, they can come for you, but it all depends on how you think of work, not necessarily how you think of job. If you think of job, you're going to be frustrated. But if you think of work, because work is meant to enhance you, work is meant to satisfy you, work is meant to improve you, even in a very toxic atmosphere. Joseph in Egypt, Egypt was not a place where they worship Yahweh. Egypt worshipped several gods and they were into rituals. And you're asking yourself, how can this boy maintain his level of sanctity and intelligence in that kind of toxic nation and still thrive? Is because it's possible that you carry your atmosphere. Now, there is something about atmospheric pressure. I think in physics we'll learn a little about atmospheric pressure. Of course, it differs and the impacts and effects, differs depending on your latitude. And if you find yourself in a place where, because what it actually means is that it's the weight of the air pressing upon the earth. In a simple definition, atmospheric pressure is the weight of the air upon the earth. Now, have you asked yourself how an airplane is able to fly at a very high altitude and people don't get choked? Is because they create an atmosphere for themselves, and by that able to navigate. And that is why you see that a pressurized cabin is created, and you have anything in the event of emergency, you have supplement, oxygen here and there to be able to make sure that you maintain your balance as though you're on the earth when you are under that kind of pressure. Now, so when you find yourself in an atmosphere that is toxic, you must think like the airplane. You must create your own cabin. You must create your own atmosphere, and it begins from the inside. You can say, no, it's not, it's very impossible to do, and all of that. If you say it's impossible, it is impossible. If you say it's possible, it is possible. You have to learn to define your own possibilities. There are people who are thriving in very toxic atmosphere because they also see not just the end in itself, also as a means to an end. As toxic as this world is, Jesus is not in a hurry to take anybody home. That should tell you or send a message home. That if you find yourself in a bad environment and you don't have the option of exiting, if the exit is going to destroy your mental health because you no longer have money to take care of your home and pay your bills, you have to have a survival instinct. And the key principle, the major principle for survival in every environment is adaptability. If your adaptability quotient is low, you will even die in enjoyment. I'm sorry to say. But I'm just saying that you must learn to adapt. The animals that is being the strongest is not the one who has the most intelligence, they say. It's not the one that can run faster, it's the one that can easily adapt. You must know that it is not the water that actually sinks the ship, it's the one that gets into the water, into the ship, that actually sinks the ship. So you must learn that. And this helps you to become invincible, helps you to become formidable, helps you to do your job, even in a very toxic atmosphere. Regardless, there will be intelligence supplied to you that will help you to even walk, and navigate and meander around a very bad boss. If you say it cannot be done, some people will tell you they've just done it. So that's just that.
Okay. So you said something very interesting.
What is it?
I said something earlier about atmospheric pressure, and you mentioned that now we are in a situation where we're in a toxic environment and we can't help it. We should think like an airplane and actually create our own atmosphere. In such situation where we are creating our own atmosphere, how do we guard ourselves? That's the last question. How do we guard ourselves? How do we renew our mind?
Oh, now, if you're an atmosphere that is toxic and is affecting your mental health, I would suggest that you just walk away. And then walking away for you may be your way out. But there are people who are stronger in their mindset.
Sorry.
They've developed, some thick skin against very terrible atmosphere. Some of them will stay. But if you have to stay at all, look at the airplane as an example. The airplane is is a pressurized cabin that flies into an atmosphere not conducive for a man, and yet we travel through that atmosphere because some science logic at creating an environment of comfort and safety while we journey through navigate through very bad atmosphere. So the first thing you must understand is that you must understand your mind. If, for instance, now let me give you an example to tell you the power of the mind. Somebody says that, or maybe you do not like to eat, you do not like to fly. You don't even like to fly. To fly, I mean, I know somebody who does not like to fly. I'm married to that person. So let's say you don't know how to fly, and then somebody now tells you that, please, you follow me to United Kingdom, and then there's this contract that we're going to sign, and you're going to have a commission of $1 million. What's going to happen to your mind? You start renewing your mind because you can see the end that excites you. So if you find yourself in an atmosphere, you must understand, why am I here in the first place? Am I here to learn? Am I here to gain? Am I here to add my quota or impact? Am I here to acquire relationships that I will need in my next level? What exactly am I here for? That thing must be bigger than money. It must be bigger than your remuneration. If it's not bigger than your remuneration, I'm telling you, you're going to suffer. So there are people who have taken pay cuts to work in places that are not that, big, organizations that are not big, just for them to learn. And some people have acquired relationships that has helped them to build their own relationships in organizations that are not paying as much. So the question is, if you're in a place, why are you there in the first place? Your purpose for work must be bigger. This is my emphasis tomorrow. It must be bigger than money. If it's not bigger than money, then you're not different from an average person running a rat race. If I choose to work with an Intel now, for instance, now as an organization, it's because maybe I want to acquire certain skill set or certain mindset. I've been to meetings, and returning from that meeting, I started telling myself, you can't be a millionaire if you're not, you should be a billionaire. Of course, being a millionaire is okay, but why not be a billionaire? Because just by mingling in that kind of atmosphere, I discovered that what is given is much more than the skill or the things that we're being trained for. Something else was communicated. There are things that are not being taught, cannot be taught, they can only be caught. And if you hang around certain people, certain atmosphere, certain organization, you're going to pick them. I'm saying, why are you in that organization in the first place? Your purpose for working there must be defined. Some is to close the gap in your CV so that you can be better positioned for another job. Some is to be able to acquire and have certain leverages and certain skill set so that you can be better positioned on LinkedIn to get a better job. So if you find yourself there, will you run away because you are pressured? Because you have a greater goal, you're going to withstand the pressure. Who, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross. That is what the Bible says. He endures the cross. Why? That was a joy. It was not a pleasant route for him to pass. But he still went through that kind of route. But it wasn't a pleasant route. But he went through it just because something bigger than life, something bigger than marriage, something bigger than having houses, something bigger than having the attention of the people was set before him. So something must be bigger. You must be in the pursuit of something bigger for every organization that you join. There has to be a reason that is bigger than the pay cut, or the pay rather. Otherwise, you will give up at the slightest provocation. You will give up at the slightest pressure. You just give up. There are places that are not. Some people, they are the toxic people themselves. They carry themselves into an organization to corrupt it. Some people cannot even enjoy their own atmosphere. They are toxic in themselves. You meet, have you seen people who just sit by themselves and their mood changes? I mean, suddenly you just discover their mood change and you are with that kind of person. That person is toxic, personified. So sometimes you don't have bad environment, you just have bad people carrying toxic environment, contaminating every other atmosphere. And at the slightest thing, they say, oh, you are attacking me. Some people say, I wonder where we get that language. So many languages that we have these days that I don't even know how it came. I feel attacked. I feel attacked. Any small thing, I feel attacked or there. I mean, listen, I feel attacked. You feel attacked. So if I'm attacked, you see, the way we are being, this generation is being raised. They are being raised too soft, too weak. I mean, people without spine. Any small, the slightest look, I feel attacked. You know, he said, oh, Gideon, why am I why are you attacking me? I'm not attacking you, Gideon. Gideon, do you feel attacked? Maybe, maybe Gideon just felt attacked just now, but if you feel attacked, I'm sorry. But you avoid some people because any slight they say, oh, I'm being gaslighted. We have imported vocabularies that we don't even know the meaning. You feel attached. Oh, please, can we close this thing? I think I'm done here before Gideon turned me to something else. I don't know how many years they give to man, but whatever it is, who feel triggered? You feel triggered. Boomsha feels triggered. Who is triggering you? Toxic or not toxic, succeed. People who go to do business, work with oil and gas companies, and they go to the very belly of the waters, of the sea. That atmosphere is not conducive. But without them, you won't have the fuel you're having today. There are people who will work in very adverse, environment, and they're still going to come up. Have you seen people installing things on skyscrapers in Japan, on very tall buildings, installing things in high places, in atmosphere that I don't like height. I mean, I like height as a goal, raising you high. But height, logically, no, I don't like it. But there are people, when I see somebody up there, I give them kudos. I can't survive where they survive. So there are people who work in very, very bad environment and they turn out very well. They turn out very well, honestly speaking. What if you start a business and the business seems to be going fine and something bad happens to you? I feel attacked by Nigeria. I feel attacked by the dollar. There is nothing you can do except to jackpot. If you're in Nigeria is toxic. The atmosphere doesn't have the proper anions. Everywhere you are inhaling what is not in here. You open, to the news. You're going to hear news that will make you more frightened. You're going to be afraid of the next policy that is coming. But the Comfort 17 joined us. That's my elder brother. You're welcome. You're going to, Nigeria itself is toxic. Some of us, our background, Northeast, was toxic. If you don't want to live in very toxic, environment, don't stay in this world. But toxicity has decreased. Are you listening to me now? It has decreased. But be strong. That is my own gospel. Be strong and be courageous. So that because you get into places that are looking very bad, and it's like you trying to extract honey out of the rock, and this is not a fairy tale. There is true honey in the rock. How do you bring it out? So go and check what people do to make us. Have you seen the way some people build houses and how terrible? Now, I can't work in those environments, but some people do that. And I praise them for it. You need to praise people. So I'm saying toxicity or no toxicity, please make sure you get results in life. And don't become bad. Don't be in a very toxic environment until you have become toxic yourself. Watch what goes through your mind. Watch what goes through your mind. If you enter water and you drink the water, you will sink with it. So you must always watch what goes through your mind. So good as that. US is toxic. Canada has its own toxicity, especially when you're raising children. Cameroon has its own. Nigeria is the chief of everything toxic. But look at us. Are we going to die? We will not die. Traffic is toxic. Workplace is toxic. Neighbor, toxic. Some people even go to church, toxic. Everywhere, toxic. You are going to deal with toxic people. Me, I survive toxic people. Abi, because I carry my own atmosphere. Do you carry your own atmosphere? I have my own culture. You must always have yours. Otherwise, you're going to be angry with everybody that looks at you in a way. Say, you can't just see the way the person looks at me. Can't see the way my sister, my brother, everywhere is talking. Please, can we end this conversation?
You are the one talking, sir.
Huh?
You are the one talking.
Please, and this is the first time I've gone on IG Live. I think I'll be doing more of IG Live. What do you think?
I think you should. I think you should.
Okay, I think I will be doing more of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Our time is passing, so I'm just going to recap now. Today we spoke on feeling the atmosphere of the workplace, and we basically spoke to two different kinds of people: the employers and the employees. For the employers, at the end of the day, your atmosphere lays on the leader, lays on you. It's all determined by you. But for the employee, you carry your own atmosphere. Regardless of what happens out there, you have your own control. You carry that atmosphere. At the end of the day, it's all about you. So as citizens, toxic or no toxic, succeed. Make sure you succeed and guard yourself. Build yourself. If you know your mental health is not strong enough, build it. Know yourself. Build your strength. Know your strength. Try to try to become who you want to become, regardless of whatever, regardless of the challenges you face. For the employer, make sure that your make sure that your vision is clear so that your employees can follow. Make sure that you're intentional about the culture. Love, build on love. Build on the principles of love. Once you build on the principles of love, you won't get it wrong. Because even if your employees leave you, as Stevie said, humanity would always bring back its reward. People will come back to you and you would gain your reward since you are not doing it for selfish reasons. Um, Another thing CD talked about was the secret of high performing people. And he said, he gave the four secrets. He said, clear goals and clear vision, system for open communication, feedback channels, employees that are made to feel their value through recognition, acknowledgement, or even bonus. So there are a lot of things that we said today, and if you want to listen, you can always listen in again on my page. So I'm also going to recap once I share this slide on the page so that we can read it without have time to listen. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for honoring me and for speaking out. I hope that you do more live so that we can actually listen in. Please kindly follow, share, like. You can follow our guest as I am David Adewale. You can follow him on at I am David Adewale. And to allow more people of this event, kindly take a screenshot and share the lessons you have learned on your social media platform. Don't forget to tag us at I am David Adewale and at Saturday I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Gideon. Thank you, Favor. Thank you, Boy. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Davunta. Thank you, Stefano. Thank you, everybody. I can't keep telling everyone's name, but thank you so much. I'm also my sister, Felicia. So thank you, Felicia. Thank you so much for coming. Till next time, go wisdom. I'm looking for you. Take care and bye.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Good night.